All right, so what you guys see, you guys can see that's not attached at all on the back, right? And so I've had Z-bars on this horse, and he did pretty good until I grew out and touched. Um, so we'll do a heart bar, and we'll do a bit of a crack repair across that for what we can. He's pretty high outside. Feet are pretty shagged. So we'll see what we can get done here. So always the first part of this is starting to collect the things, right? So for me, whenever I do this, I want to make sure that materials are readily available. I've done this up at an Amish community one time. I used a little hand drill, and we had to find some sort of wire. I don't always have that on hand. So we found an old electric motor that an Amish guy had that we finally did. But we're going to do the same. So let's go see if we can find ourselves some copper wire around here. Scored. All right. Drill. I need a drill. Does anyone got electrical tape? All right, so we'll take our copper wire. We need to get it stripped. Now, fun story, I have a friend, and a friend that rode trains for a few years after high school. And that friend is the only person I know that has a friend that's been kidnapped. So their friend got kidnapped, and the crackheads that kidnapped him made him strip wire for 3 days in a closet. And then when he was done stripping wire, they turned him loose, so. Yeah. Anyone else have any friends that have been kidnapped and made strip wire? No? You guys' fastest way to strip wire is if you just tap it through real quick. Not so much you break it. So pulling on wire is terrible on your hands. But if you wrap it around something first, it's quite a bit better. So I just drilled that little hole in there. I was trying to protect that wire maybe a little too much. Whoop, maybe not.
3 hours later.
So you guys are going to find out therapeutic shoeing is not really where it is to make money. Like everyday work is where you end up making all your money. This stuff always just takes time. You end up having to build shoes, whatever it is. And then to charge what's appropriate for it isn't really. Okay, so if you're ever drilling something and you don't want it to go too deep, if you tape up your drill bit, you can stop it. So I'm going to set the depth and my thickness of my hoof wall with my tape. And the last preparatory thing we got to do is we got to grind up some screws. Alright, so what am I looking for in the screws? I want to have a flat bottom head and whatever I can get. Truthfully, it gets come back to that point. I don't always keep this stuff on hand, right? So if I need to do something, I'd go to the Tractor Supply in town, and this is what I could find today. So, yep. Ideally, brass is my favorite. Kind of a consistency on some of these horses is that big inside-outside shape, huh? It's been a minute since we've done this horse. It's been about a year since we've shot him. And it's been probably 4 or 5 months since we trimmed him. Do be careful cutting it up. Alright, so what I'm seeing here, look at the offset in the back half of that foot, right? So when I build this heart bar, I'm just going to put a normal heart bar on. When I build this heart bar, this one's going to come way down and that one's going to come in. So I'm going to fit with kind of the same amount of length on both sides, but the bar's not going to be straight across from itself. Okay? 4 7/8. So 5 1/4. 5 1/4 by 5. 10 1/4. So I'm deciding I need 11 3/4 for that foot. Okay? If I don't put an equilibrium toe on. If I do put an equilibrium toe on, I'm only going to need 10 1/4 for that foot because I get a 1/2 inch of stretch and I'm not going to bump the toe. So you don't need very much for it. 10 1/4. Plus 4. Yeah. I'm going to go with a 15-inch piece for that. Yeah. 14.5 inch piece. So again, we always figure out what we need to start with, right? So I'm going to start by putting my offset in, okay? 7 1/4, we know we're going to need a heavy offset here, okay? So everything about it needs to be shorter. My frog plate, I put a 1/2 inch offset in that. Okay. So that foot was 5 by 10 1/4, 11 3/4. I need 10 3/4 for that foot. So I decided I needed 10 3/4 for that foot. Okay. So half of 10 3/4 is 5 3/8. I know I'm going to be putting that 1/4 inch offset in there, a little heavier then. So I'm moving that across. Remember we said 10 3/4? My mark there and my mark here. Alright, so I'm thinking about that foot right now. It's got a big inside-outside to it. I'm not going to fall in love with setting my toe yet. But I am going to put that equilibrium toe on it, right? So I'm going to come in. I hemmed up the foot surface. Now I'm going to put that bevel on that foot surface. Okay, I'm going to come in, lift up, push that outside down. one of the beauties about marks is they aren't always drop dead points. They're more of reference points, right? So where that mark was, it was just a little bit long. So I'm pulling that up into my branch just a little bit. So I know that I wanted to fit at about 5 1/4, right? Which means I need to be at about 6 inches to the corner of my bar from my center. So right there, right at 6. Okay. On that note, one mistake not to make when you're building this kind of heart bar is you could measure to the end there. But you got to measure to where your bar would be if that was filled in. So it's there. That point is out there. Okay? I'm not going to punch it because of the way that foot is. I don't know exactly where I'm going to put my nail holes yet. So what I'm doing is I'm lining up my center punch mark. I'm lining that up, making sure that side looks like half my foot. So a quick taper on that. So right there, I'm hemming that up. How many of you guys got your heart bars to this point and then we're wondering whether to trust bringing it around? Yep. All right. So trust it, right? It's not going to seem like it's going to come around right. So all the radiuses I need are still on my horn. They're just at the tip.
There's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law.
When you're fitting a frog plate, you want to set your frog plate back a minimum of 3/8 off the apex of the frog. The best way to measure that's not from the back of your shoe, because you never know how long your shoe is. It's to measure it from the front edge, like so. Okay, I just kind of eyeballed it. Like I said, it's a minimum measurement, a minimum of 3/8 on it. And really, the best way to get your frog plate into center is just rasp it into submission. And if I had a silver pencil, I would take that to the foot now, so I can kind of decide where exactly I want my nail. All right, we're gonna put a little whip on that. I think my nail placement is gonna be pretty standard nail placement. I should have paid just a little bit more attention to my frog, so it prolapse just a little bit. So I'm gonna have to start adjusting that as I work.
Racing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon.
There.
Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the moon. When it rains, it pours. Water's up to my chin. Won't stop fighting to the very end. Many men try to reach it. Many men have failed.
Right. So I build the shoe for the foot. Okay. It's always a consideration.
Hope they won't shoot me down soon. Facing all the sleepless night. Will you find me?
Perfect amount.
Hope you find me.
So on a hot day like this, it's supposed to be set like now.
When the sun
Alright, so because I've set up my drill, I'm going to come in.
You find that this works better than lace nail?
For this specifically, yep.
Yeah.
There's a purpose and job for everything, right?
Yeah.
So I also shortened up my screws and I rounded up the ends, right? I should have used just a slightly bigger drill bit. I just mispurchased this morning. But it seems to be working out all right. You got hiccups. All right, so now so like I was telling you, pulling against this wire really sucks. But if I come in and wrap it around something, and then I just kind of go around it a couple different directions. And the last one is strap it up. Enough.
Where did they buy this with all the yellings? Where did they? Did they buy it? She's had
All right. So last thing we do, just avoid the coronary band, and we'll glue that up.
At least they're stretchy.
So if you're using a polyurethane like Superfast, you have to maintain a minimum of a 1/4 inch thickness. But with a acrylic, you can thin it out. Okay. So once that's hardened, we will rasp it up. One thing you do have to be concerned with, you guys want to feel how hot that's gotten? So if you're ever doing a pull, you have to watch that you don't let it build up too much heat. And then as time goes on, you just trim it out. So this will last. So I've used a lot of different types of crack repairs. So I've gone in and done crack repairs where where you use like Kevlar. They call it Cobra Salt. I've used that before, and I always get about 1, maybe 2 shoeing cycles out of this. With this method, until it grows off, it'll grow all the way out before I lose it. So.
So it lasts what, like a year, 9 months, a year?
Well, a year for the toe, right?
Yeah.
So you're looking at 6 months.
Got it.
There we go.